We're going to talk about something out of the norm today, more specifically a theoretical build that I think is going to be extremely common in just a few short weeks once we finally get the chance to dig into Beyond Light. There were plenty of crazy looking exotics, but Necrotic Grip specifically is the one that really caught my eye. We've all seen the exotics trailer. There's a bunch of really cool ones, but Necrotic Grip stuck out to me like a sore thumb, mostly because it is extremely similar in its functionality to a couple of other exotics that we already know and love: Thorn and Witherhoard. Keep in mind that everything we're going to go over today is all theory. Anybody can read about what an exotic is designed to do, but none of us are actually going to know how this works on a practical level until we actually get our hands on it, so all of this is mostly just speculation. Well, it's actually 3,000 hours worth experience and knowledge of how the game works, combined with some speculation on how things may work in the future. Again, keep in mind this is all just theory, so let's skip all the normal ramblings from each video. I just want to cut to the chase quick this time. Necrotic Grip deals a type of poison damage, so to speak. When you strike a target with an assumed to be melee charge, the target is struck with a poison damage, if you will, one that ticks for an, as of right now, unknown amount of time. Assuming the target dies, you regain melee energy for that kill, and the poison spreads to other enemies near the one that died, similar to Witherhoard and Thorn, mostly in the aspect of damage over time. The tick damage is an exceptionally crucial mechanic here. The main goal here is to inflict a double stack of damage over time, assuming that they can both be active simultaneously. I'd assume that they could. It's not all that different from damaging a target with a prolonged grenade effect and the Thorn/Witherhoard. If I had to take a guess, I feel like the poison itself may be too strong for us to trigger it from a normal melee attack. It's more likely that it's going to need a fully charged melee to trigger, but that's just a guess. I suppose we'll find out for certain in just a few short weeks. The theory here is that we could pair this with either Thorn or Witherhoard for the double debuff. Necrotic Grip will allegedly, based on what Bungie has told us about it, poison the target, and either Thorn or Witherhoard could blight it, which would, in theory, also tick damage on the target as well. The exotic doesn't give us any element to go off of, so for now we're going to assume that it's just universal, meaning that any of the elemental melee abilities can trigger it, in theory. That being said, we're going to start off with Middle Tree Stormcaller for the Ball Lightning and Ionic Trace. This is mostly for the convenience of a ranged melee attack and the Ionic Traces, which are extremely useful in the topic of low strength or discipline builds. In this case specifically, we don't technically need a high strength stat because Ionic Traces drop like candy, and they restore decent amounts of energy for such a generous drop rate. A good combo mod would be something that returns melee energy on kills or damage. A Breach Resonator is always a good fit. It returns grenade and melee energy. Outreach is another good choice too. A high intellect stat is what we're looking for here because we're going to be taking advantage of the Empowering Rift as well, and that'll boost the damage dealt from each bullet fired while Thorn and Necro do the big boy work. Ball Lightning is going to hit at a range. Kills from all sources have a chance to drop an Ionic Trace that the player has to run around and try to catch, and it's really annoying, but it returns energy for all abilities and they drop constantly. This is the theoretical synopsis right here. Again, theory. Ball Lightning is a melee attack for both close and long range. Necrotic Grip will allegedly modify that Ball Lightning to deal a poison tick as well, meaning you'll damage for the initial hit and then the tick as well. So you're hitting for an abnormally strong melee attack that can potentially spread to other targets on a kill, which would be fantastic for crowd control with a dot on top of our guns. There's also a chance that something like 1-2 punch with an Empowering Rift may even add more to the initial damage, but all of that kind of remains to be seen. All of this is theory anyway. We'll just kind of have to wait and see how it all works when the exotic finally drops for us. On the topic of guns, I really feel like we should address this now. Witherhoard or Thorn are both great choices. Personally, I'm going to grab Thorn because I'm a stickler for hand cannons. Thorn also ticks damage on successful hits. Mark of the Remnant makes it hit harder, though it isn't something that stacks. An Empowering Rift can increase kinetic damage while both Necrotic and Thorn tick away, which could amount to extreme damage if something like a tractor cannon came into play. This would effectively double all damage that a target takes at any given time. Any other modifier that could increase overall damage here would be a major boost. Witherhoard could also work in a similar fashion. There isn't really a need to go super in depth on it because they basically do the same thing, except one is a grenade launcher and the other is a hand cannon. Both guns tick damage over time, and the idea here is that Necrotic Grip will allegedly add to that effect with an additional tick. While we do know that Witherhoard and Thorn can tick endlessly, assuming you're actually hitting your targets, it is still an unknown as to whether or not the player can actually have 2 damage ticks going at the same time. My brain tells me that it'll be a lot like having a grenade effect and a Witherhoard dealing damage at the same time, where they both hit individually for their own damage numbers, but my gut tells me that we're gonna get pounded by the sandbox team. That's just who I am, kids. I don't know what else to say. It would not surprise me in the slightest if Bungie decided to not let me have any fun with this simply because I uploaded a video about it. Back on the topic though, the damage potential is here. Necrotic and Thorn allegedly ticking at the same time with an empowered rift to boost the kinetic damage from Thorn, mods that restore super energy on kills and melee energy on a rift cast. On necro kills, you regain melee energy. This would create an, as of right now, theoretical ability circle, where all abilities take advantage of one another and they all rely on the circle in its entirety to keep ability cooldowns low and damage output high. It's more of a concept right now than it is a build, but that's not going to stop me from filming more videos about these theoretical builds. Beyond Light is only a few weeks away and nobody is really talking about any of this kind of stuff all that much yet. I don't know why. If I'm wrong and it doesn't work the way that it's looking like it will in my head, then I'm wrong and I'm gonna take it like a champ. But for now, I'm gonna assume that it will. That's it for today. I've got something real nasty that I'm cooking up for you that should be done in the next couple days, so I'll see all you kids later.